Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back, students. So we were done with up to here in the previous lecture. Now it's activity 12.8. Okay, so it's look into your friend's eye. Observe the size of the pupil. We have to observe the size of his pupil. Throw light on her eye with a torch. Now after observing that, we have to throw a light with the help of a torch on her eye. Observe the pupil. Now after the eye is exposed to the light, we have to observe his pupil and then switch off the torch and then observe his pupil once again. That means we have to first observe the size as it is, then after throwing the light, then after switching off the light. Do you notice any change in the size of the pupil? Now they want us to know that is there any size change because of that, and also the case in which the size of the pupil was larger. So why do you think it was? In which case do you need to allow more light in the eye when the light is dim or bright? Okay, so behind the pupil of the eye is a lens which is thicker at the center. Which kind of lens is thicker at the center? Okay, whether it's concave or convex. The lens focuses light on the back of the eye on a layer called retina. So there is a retina, there's a layer on the back of the eye, that is the retina. If you could see here, it is the retina. Retina contains several nerve cells. Sensations felt by the nerve cells are then transmitted to the brain through the optic nerve. Then the sensations that are felt by our nerve cells, which in this retina is containing, they are used to transmit the information through the optic nerves up to the brain. So there are two types of cells: cone cells and rod cells. The cone cells are sensitive to the bright light, and the rod cells, they are sensitive to the dim light. Besides cone, these are the cone cells that sense the color. Okay, they can distinguish between the colors as well. At the junction of the optic nerve and the retina, there are no sensory cells, so no vision is possible there. Since at the point where the optic nerve and the retina meets, there is no vision possible. So that's known as the blind spot. Okay, the blind spot is a junction that is present at the junction between optic nerve and the retina. Okay, its existence can be demonstrated by the following activity. Now we have to mark a round mark, that means a dot and a cross on a sheet of paper, just like this. Okay, and then we have to the distance between them should be between 6 to 8 meters. Now we have to hold the sheet from our eye at an arm length. That means up to an arm length we have to maintain that distance. Now we have to close our left eye and we have to observe this spot, observe this cross. Okay, so now we have to move the sheet closely towards our eye and we have to see this cross again. Does the round mark, does it disappear for some time? Now we have to do the reciprocal of it. We have to just observe on the dot now. Okay, and repeat this activity. Does the cross disappear? The disappearance of the cross of the round, that will happen, but that is showing us that there is a point on the retina where messages can't be sent. Why they can't be sent? Because to the brain when the light is falling on that. Okay, this is that impression, that demonstration of this blind spot. The impression of an image does not vanish immediately from the retina. If some image is formed on the retina, it won't just vanish just like that. It persists, it stays there for at least 1/16th of a second. Okay, so it's very small duration, but still it's there. So if still images of a moving object are flashed on the eye at a rate faster than this, then the eye perceives, it will perceive. If the images still means stopped, मतलब still the रुका हुआ किसी भी moving object का, if that is flashed on the eye at a speed that is greater than 16th per second, that means this speed, then the eye that will perceive that image as moving. So we will assume that that object is moving. Okay, if that object will be still. Now the second is the activity 12.10. It's get a square piece of cardboard of size 6 to 8 centimeters and we have to make 2 holes in it. Okay, thread a string through the 2 holes. We have to just pass a string just like 2 cardboard, and a string has to pass through it. draw a cage on one side and a bird. We have to draw a cage and a bird in the other. Twist a string and make the car trill rapidly. We have to make it twirling. Okay, do you see the bird? So see, it will move. The image is not, the object is still, but we will assume that the image is moving just by rotating it. Okay, so what we will see that we will just observe that this is going into it. The bird is going into the cage. The image will assume to be moving. Nature has provided eyes with eyelids to protect from our eye object entering the eye. The eyelids represent our eyes that are, because the nature doesn't want any unwanted object to just enter our eye, right? So eyelids also shut out light when not required. Okay. Eye is such a wonderful organ that can see distant objects as well as near objects clearly. That's true. The minimum distance with which an eye can see objects is distinct, that differs as age grows. The most comfortable distance is 25 centimeters. Now, some persons can see near objects very clearly, but they can't see distant objects. They are, on the other hand, some are like who can see the near objects not clearly, but the distant object they can see very clearly. So the persons who can see near object clearly but not the distant, they are known as myopic. Okay, and that disease is myopia. On the other hand, this other in which the near object is not seen visible, that's hypermetropia. Okay, so sometimes, particularly in age, eyesight becomes foggy. It is due to the eyes becoming cloudy. Lens, when it happens, persons are said to have that's called cataract. Okay. So there is a loss of vision, sometimes extremely severe. It is possible to treat this defect. The opaque lens is removed and a new artificial lens is inserted in that thing. Modern technology has made this procedure simpler and safer. So that's all for today, students.